First, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, I'll give my introduction. My name is Anna Mushtaq and I read in class 8 and I'm the student of Life Coach Academy. Today, I want to just convey with you my journey and I want to say something about my journey. So, before 2 or 3 months, I was at my home. So, at that very time, I was just thinking that I want to learn the language. But at that very time, I didn't have option where I just got the language, where I will get the language. But at that very time, when I was just at my home, so I told my father that I want to learn the language. So at that very time, he told me that, okay, you have to go in coaching academy, you have to learn the language. So at that very time, when I just went market, so I just called my friend. So I told my friend that where I will get the language. So she told me that here is one coaching academy. I know it is located at Trident Road. So at that very time, I told my friend, okay, I will just go there. So at that very time, when I just saw the building at that very time, I thought that if I'll just enter in the classroom, there is a lot of students, what they will think as compared to other students. So at that very time, when I just knocked the door and I told my sir that may I come in, so sir told me that, okay, please. So at that very time, I just entered this very room and I saw here stranger faces. I saw here a lot of students. They were just speaking fluently. And I was fascinated by those very students at that very time. So when I just saw those very students, they were just speaking fluently. They were just doing conversation with each other and they were just speaking very fluently. And I thought at that very time, I didn't get a language because I just saw the language and I swear I was just fascinated by those very students at that very time. So when sir told me that please get up in front of the students and give your introduction. So at that very time I just gave my introduction in front of the students. Even I'm not able to just speak in front of students only one word. I'm not able to speak in front of students only one word. But at that very time I didn't know what I just speak in front of the student. But I gave my introduction at that very time. So when I just sat on my chair, so at that very time I just told my sir that please just motivate me. I was just fascinated by those very students. They mesmerized me, their speeches fluently, and they just talk with me politely. And what I will do, and sir told me that it's not your class. First you have to learn the basic grammar and then you have to learn the higher grammar. So at that very time, I thought at that time, so okay, it's not my class. I have to read the basic grammar and then I have to read the higher grammar. So at that very time, sir told me that first I'll just teach you what is grammar. So I'm swearing by Almighty Allah, I just spent a lot of time in my school at that very time, but I didn't know that what is grammar, what is the actual meaning of the grammar. But we were just reading a lot of just grammatical elements, but even we didn't know first what is grammar. But when I just came here, so first sir told me that you have to know that what is grammar. As we all know that grammar means rules of language. So at that very time, sir taught me that the grammar means rules of language and regulations of language. So I just got it at that very time. And the next topic was noun. Even you know that, as we all know that we spent a lot of time in our school where teachers was just teaching us grammar and they were just teaching us each and everything. Then I will just tell you, each and every student have misconception that if we know the grammar and then we'll get the language. But it's not that way type of thing. If we'll get the grammar, but we didn't get the language because it takes a lot of time. But when we talk about our school, I spent a lot of time in my school, but I didn't get the language. But here, I spent only 2 or 3 or 4 months, but I got the language. What's the reason? What's the miracle? So when we talk about my next topic was noun, and as we all know that first we have to know the word's noun. So it's simply my sir told me that you have to know that noun is the naming word, which we know that noun is the place name, thing name, animal name. No, noun is all the things have names, so that's called a noun. So at that very time I got the thing that what is actually the grammar, and then just first as we know that we have to come here, first we have to hear a lot of practices. As we know that we are doing here conversations, we are doing dialogues, we are doing word practices, we are doing quiz matches here. So those type of things is too much good for us as well, good for our future as well. As we know that as compared to my opinion is concerned, that my favorite activity is your word practice, because as we all know that if we are just doing conversation with each other, but at that very time we are not giving too much focus to each other and we're just polite, like we're just partner is not creating mistakes in our just language. But if we are just getting in front of the students at that free time where she sharing views with our just classmates, at that free time sir is listening to her speech, what she is telling and what he is telling in front of the student, and he is creating mistakes in our just speech, and he's also telling us that what you are doing and what we have to do. So I think that word practice is must for us. So okay, my thinking is that if we talk about the pronunciation, I think that pronunciation plays a vital role in the English language side. So I think that if I just came here, so I'll just got a language. No, it's not that type of thing. No, first we have to know the pronunciation. As we know that pronunciation plays a vital, important role in the language. If we talk about here is everyone's cup of tea to just speak here, to just do conversation, to just do communication here. But it's not the cup of tea for every person to just do communication with the native speakers, with the Australian peoples, with the British peoples, with the American peoples. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But we have to prepare ourselves for those very peoples, to do communication with those very peoples. But what we have to do? We have to learn the pronunciation. As we know that